Good to have you with us. Can it reverse the downward trend?
Absolutely. I think some of the ideas detailed into the report are a lot more interesting in terms of at least what we had seen in the SONA. It starts to detail some of the granularity that we would expect it to see. So one, they speak of network industries, and so that's electricity, it's water, it's transport, and how those are important for sustainable economic growth in the continent, in the country. But, you know, it's interesting for me, and there's a number of other things. They speak about small business, they speak about agriculture revival and labor-intensive industries, and so that's, you know, you're talking about tourism, you're talking about construction, etc. But, you know, when you look at this and then you still contextualize that not so long ago, National Treasury came out and they're talking about fiscal austerity. This for me is a little bit of the lack of cohesion in terms of the conversation that we're having. Because on the one hand, we're saying that the Treasury is asking departments to figure out where they're going to squeeze money, but they're coming out with this, call it, blueprint with building blocks on how to grow the economy.
So doesn't this suggest that there really is no sort of economic policy within the ruling ANC? I mean, we've got Tito Mboweni. It seems that he's sort of going out on his own here, coming up with this plan. Is that not going to affect growth anyway, the fact that it seems that there really is no cohesion when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, policy cohesion is one of the things we've struggled with, particularly, as an economy. And as we said, right, is that if you look at the research that's out there, it shows that when you embark on fiscal austerity, when the economy is currently stressed, it actually creates a worse environment in the medium to long term. And so that's the first reality. And so when we look at, the proposals in this particular document, which have some really interesting kind of, touch points, coming through, again, as I said, is that it's slightly in contradiction to what the research shows in terms of what happens when you embark on a fiscal austerity program. And then I think we need to get a little bit more answers into, how they imagine, these two worlds happening at the same time, because we absolutely need to invest in infrastructure, because those are some of the things that are going to drive us back into growth. And so one, there's a conversation about spending back into growth, investing back into growth, but then there's austerity conversation. And I think that's where, we're not really finding the right kind of linkage in the conversation to give comfort around, the prospects for success for that.
It seems that one negates the other, but let's just talk about this policy document now, or this rather suggestion of how we can move the economy forward. I mean, what stands out is things like the government will be penalised if it doesn't pay small businesses on time, and that's crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because that cripples such an important growth sector.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a report that came out saying, I think it was about 7 billion worth of outstanding invoices that haven't been paid by government. I think in the Eastern Cape specifically was about 2 billion, right? And so those are the things that already have been, I think, crippling issues for small businesses, and those are the people who are supposed to create, jobs within the microcosms in which they operate. And so I think those are certainly some of the positive, conversations that are coming out there. But we absolutely need to, I think, even within that context, say that it is 30 days. And nothing more than that, because there's a lot of rhetoric that tends to go around these things that, yes, we're going to support small business, but then let's make sure that, the benchmark is there, and then we can actually, test against it and make sure that government executes against it.
And, the other extreme, sort of selling off the power stations at Eskom and affording us at some stage, you and me, the chance to sell electricity. How will that work? Is that feasible?
So we've seen in some of the global economies, Germany, Australia, Norway, they went on a privatization program of the national grid, and now they're coming back, or they've come back trying to publicize it, right? And primarily because it resulted in electricity prices skyrocketing when they had fully privatized the electricity grid. And so, and this is one of the reasons why Minister Mboweni had said that Eskom is too big to fail, because we can't allow, when Eskom's got both a developmental mandate as well as a growth mandate, we can't allow them then to cease to play the roles that they play. And as soon as you privatize it, and then one of the things that is very likely to happen is that electricity prices are going to skyrocket.
It seems that South Africa needs its own plan, doesn't it? Sifiso Skinjana, thank you very much.